Look at the movement of my snake head. Notice once it hits a border, it just reflects back out to itself. Welcome back, friends. We are looking at enhancing the Hungry Traveling Snake project from the WiByte Python Curriculum, available at www.wibyte.in. In this video, we will see how we can build this feature. In fact, this is quite interesting, quite easy if we have previously looked at how to handle, for example, jumping across the borders. But we have to be careful because remember, if we have also built a self goal feature, in doing this, we may end up creating a self goal as I did just now. Because once the tail is long enough, if my head goes and touches one of the tail elements, the game is going to get over. That said, it's in fact quite simple. Like I said, all I have to do, previously I was getting my snake to say jump over to the other side when it was touching a border. We've seen this before, but here, instead of making that like a secret passage, all I'll do is that I'll say, okay, if the heading is 0 and I'm on the right border, let me make my heading to 180. I make my heading to 0, 90, and 270. Think about it. This is just basically reflecting, just that I have to vary about every border separately. And this is exactly what I was doing anyway when I was jumping across the borders. Keep in mind, however, that this may cause a self goal quite easily, as we just saw. So you can either do it, do this, for example, without the self goal feature at all, or maybe tell the player that, okay, don't do this reflection business after a certain length because you will inevitably end up in a self goal. Implementing this is, of course, not hard at all because previously I had these conditions to determine whether I'm at the border, I was just jumping to the right or the borders. What I will do is that instead of jumping to the, let's say, the border on the other side, I will just say, well, t dot set heading, 0. Then I will say set heading to say 180. If I was heading, let's say, in say another direction, set heading, let's say, in this case 0. I go and say, well, t dot set heading. For example, if it was 90, well, I'll make it 270. And finally, if it was 270, indeed, I will make it, let's say, t dot set heading, say 90. But obviously, I must go and comment out these statements so that the snake does not jump to the other side. And this is all we need. We can see this working already. Notice my snake head will now reflect back quite nicely. Now, obviously, I must eat this food because I'm implementing the order of eating. So I can just go and reflect across this, and I can go and oops, I went and ate the wrong food. But you get the idea. This is quite simple. Before I wrap this up, a little bit of compare and contrast. Well, there's not much difference in the effort, but anyway, there was a block in Scratch called if on edge bounds, which just did almost something similar for us. Here we are having to write a little bit more code, but the outcome is very similar. So very similar to implementing this, for example, using if on edge bounds. Again, I hope you found this useful. And in general, if you think this way of learning, of building activities, implementing ideas, implementing enhancements is something that you find interesting, look at our website because we have many such projects. Take care. Thank you so much. Enjoy programming.